All right, today we're going to change out an outlet. We're going to swap out this old style. This thing's been painted over several times. You can see here that the hole is closing up the ground from being painted over. I'm going to change this out with this the new style with the USB-A and USB-C outlets. On every project, our main concern is safety, but especially when dealing with electrical, we want to ensure that the power is off. So I've got my handy voltmeter here, and I'm going to put the feeders in there. It's reading 124 volts, which that means it's 120. It'll read differently, but it's basically 120. This tool is another voltage checker. It just plugs right in, and it's got a little digital readout there. And this one's reading 126 volts. So now we're going to have to go to the breaker box and figure out which one it is. Sometimes you have to play guessing games because the people who originally did the breaker box, they don't label this stuff correctly, or not in any detail at very least. So you got to kind of play guessing games and run back and forth switching the breaker off, which I'll do now. So I found the breaker that turns this one off. As you can see, our lights are off, and our little, you can't see it, but our little gauge is dead. But I like to double check just in case that gauge there malfunctioned. We'll double check with this one. Redundancy is always a good thing when it comes to safety. So, okay, it's dead. And you want to make sure that there is no power going to this outlet before you attempt this. Either that or wear a diaper, because 120 volts jigging through your bowels will cause you to have an accident. And do not wear anything but the adult Depends, because you feel like an idiot going to work wearing some Huggies or some Pampers or something. Not that I have any experience with that. That's just, I heard that from somewhere else. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, so now we can remove our outlet. Like I said earlier, this is an old one, so painted on there, so you might have to do a little prying to get it loose. There we go. And now you can see we've got two black wires on one side, two white wires on the other side, and a ground wire. So we can disconnect these. Our new one won't connect in the same way. The right tool for the right job. Get these little needle nose in here to grab this wire, unwind it from around there. There we go. Same thing on this side. I'm going to loosen them up. Get our needle nose in there to grab that wire. Now we just have our ground wire left. Now, we've got two black wires, two white wires, and our ground wire. As you can see, we've got plenty of wire hanging out. In my opinion, it's too much. Plus, we need them to be straight, as you'll see. All these bends at the top are just gonna make it more difficult with the new one, the newer style. So we'll trim these off. Now our ground can stay like that. All right, about half, maybe 5/8 of an inch strip off of there. You don't want to strip too much. You'd rather strip not enough, because then if you don't have enough room, then you can go back a little further. If you strip back too far, then you've got exposed wire with electricity run through it, and that can be dangerous. So just take off a little bit at a time until you get the right amount. And our new outlet here, they've got these holes where you just stick it in there, and the screw head where you can, if you only had one wire on each side, you could do that, but we have two. So we're going to use these holes, and they clamp down in there. The rule for this is that the head of the screw is, this one's silver and this one's gold or copper. The copper side always takes the black wires. The silver side always takes the white wires. That's how you know. Once you remember that, you don't ever have to pay attention to where the wires were on the first one. So just remember that. Then you just plug these into the hole like that, and you tighten up your screw. Like so. And that pinches that wire in there. And see how the plastic coating on the wire is going clear up to the, I don't have any exposed wires out here. You don't want copper wire clear out here. So you want the plastic coating on the wire, the white part, to go clear up against your outlet. That way you don't have any exposed wires causing a fire or shocking someone. Okay, now on the bottom here we've got our ground. Spot for our ground. Let's see. This can be tricky because it's got to go a certain way. Now when you put these on here, the screw tightens in a clockwise direction. So you want the loop of your wire to go in a clockwise direction. Because if it's going the other way, when you tighten the wire or you tighten the screw, the wire will unravel and come off of the screw. So you want to make sure. Here, I'll show you once I get it on here. You want to make sure that it's going, the bending in the wire is going in the direction that the screw tightens. And that way it'll tighten down real good. You won't have any problems. And there you go. That's how simple it is. Now we're ready to go. We can bend these wires into there. And then this plastic box inside here has a hole for your screws. These two screws that are on here. Bend that out to show you. And they should have a little square plastic tab on there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little clear plastic tab on there to keep the screw in place. And they go into the holes that are already there with the box. Sometimes these can get a little frustrating to get in there, but there we go. And try a new tactic. There we go. The right tool for the right job. There we go. Now, as you can see, there's a little extra room in the screw hole. That way you can maneuver your outlet. Leaves a little play in it so you can make sure your outlet is straight up and down. If you need to move it over a little bit like that, see? But ours is pretty good. And you can also see these little holes here, the ones in the middle, not these tabs, the little hole here and here. Those are for our cover plate screws. Cover plate will go on here like that. There you go. And it's good practice. Little pro tip is to make sure these two screw slots line up. Just makes it look professional. So now I'm going to go turn the breaker back on and we'll test this new outlet. All right, the power's back on. We can check our new outlet. 125 volts, 124, good deal. We've upgraded our outlet to this old funky one, from this old funky one to this new spiffy one, and we didn't even have to wear a diaper.